Hello and welcome. New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo has rejected the findings of a 5-month investigation by the state's Attorney General that found that he sexually harassed multiple women, including senior employees. The 5-month probe found that Governor Cuomo violated federal and state laws whilst creating what was called a climate of fear in the workplace. Two senior Democrats, the U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, both New York Democrats, have called on the governor to resign. Here's a little of what the Attorney General had to say.
The independent investigation has concluded that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women and in doing so violated federal and state law. Specifically, the investigation found that Governor Andrew Cuomo sexually harassed current and former New York State employees by engaging in unwelcome and non-consensual touching and making numerous offensive comments of a suggestive and sexual nature that created a hostile work environment for women.
This is what Mr. Cuomo had to say in response to the report.
I want you to know directly from me that I never touched anyone inappropriately or made inappropriate sexual advances. I am 63 years old. I've lived my entire adult life in public view. That is just not who I am, and that's not who I have ever been. Today, we are living in a superheated, if not toxic, political environment. That shouldn't be lost on anyone. Politics and bias are interwoven throughout every aspect of this situation. One would be naive to think otherwise.
Governor Andrew Cuomo. Well, I'm joined by the BBC's Samira Hussein in New York. Hi, Samira. How serious is this for Andrew Cuomo?
I mean, it is really very surprising to hear such a strong statement coming from Governor Cuomo. I mean, most people, once the report came down, would have expected to hear that the governor is going to be resigning his position, but that is not the case. In fact, I would suggest it's the exact opposite, that Mr. Cuomo is first pushing back on some of the things that were reported in the investigation. Even in that video statement, he even went on to talk about some of the accusers and countered some of their recollections of how things went and some of his actions. And further, politically, I think it is getting very, very difficult to see how the governor survives in this position. We've already heard from high-ranking members of the Democratic Party that say that he should, in fact, resign. We are waiting for U.S. President Joe Biden, the leader of the Democratic Party, and he is expected to make comments on the investigation and on what's happening with Governor Cuomo. It's unclear what he's going to say about it, but it's very hard for the president, whose White House has already called the allegations, or rather the information from this report, absolutely abhorrent.
I appreciate, Samira, that you probably haven't had time to read the full, 165-page report, but in looking through what you've been able to see, what stands out?
I mean, it is really incredible. First, the fact that overall that Governor Cuomo had created such a toxic work environment and that really allowed for this kind of harassment to go on. That in painful detail, these victims talked about how they were sexually touched and how they were forced to sit on the governor's lap, how they were forced to kiss him, and also the sexual comments that they were on the receiving end from the governor's office. Of course, also really quite disturbing to hear is the retaliation against at least one woman when she chose to speak out. There were reports that staffers would say things like, well, you should be happy that you're getting that kind of attention from the governor. These are really disturbing things that have come out, and we're not talking about things that have happened in 1977 that are only coming to light now. These are events that happened in 2020. This is the post-Me Too era, and this is still going on, which I think is very indicative of just how difficult some work environments can be for women.
Samir Hussein, New York, thank you so much.